Help, I want to bring the prophetic to my local church. I feel like I'm being stirred up. I feel like I need training and equipping concerning the prophetic. Well, this is something that I get asked a lot. As somebody who teaches a school of the prophet, has been in ministry for the last 17 years, I want to share with you what the Lord has shown me and how it is that we get started in bringing the prophetic to a local church. So a lot of times when people are first starting their prophetic walk with the Lord, not that they didn't have the calling, not that they didn't already have that seal on their life that they were going to be prophets, but when they first actually acknowledge what is going on, when they first acknowledge that, yes, the Lord is calling me to this, they're very zealous. People who are prophets are very passionate. They want to get things done. They want things to happen. The very first thing that I would say when somebody wants to bring the prophetic to the local church is this. They need to make sure that that church is very, very firm in prayer. Yes, prayer. Why? Because prayer is one of the foundational pieces concerning the prophetic. Because a prophet cannot be a prophet, a successful, powerful, anointed prophet, if they do not have a strong prayer life. Period, point blank. If the church does not move in prayer, there is not going to be any power. So one of the foundational pieces concerning the prophetic is going to be prayer. If you want to bring the prophetic to your local church, you need to make sure that you guys have a strong prayer life, that you guys have a strong prayer altar that is a congregational prayer altar, that your guys' leaders are strong in prayer, okay? That people understand the power of prayer. Why? Because if you try to bring the prophetic into a local church and there is no prayer life, there is going to be chaos that comes to that house. There is going to be chaos that comes to that local church. In order for people to know that the Lord is speaking to them, they need to have an intimate relationship with the Lord. So if you guys want to see the prophetic people in your local church rise up and take their stand as the prophets of God that they have been called to be, they absolutely need to be strong in prayer. So again, you need to make sure that you have a strong corporal prayer presence, okay? And you also need to have an intercessors group. Why do I say this? You have to have an intercessors group because an intercessors group is going to act as a security system. They're going to act as a point of contact when you're asking what is stirring up, what is going on in the atmosphere. Intercessors receive downloads from the Lord as well. Intercessors need to know what is coming into the church, what is moving. They have to have discernment of spirits. They have to have revelatory gifts. People who are truly called to be intercessors need to be able to move behind the scenes. They need to see what is coming, what is trying to leave, what is in the church, what is moving, the atmosphere, the environment. They need to know the temperature of the church. So if you want to bring the prophetic to your local church, you guys don't have people prophesying, you guys don't have people talking about visions and dreams, then you guys absolutely, the very first thing that I would say is that you guys need to make sure that your prayer department, that your prayer attitude is strong. Once you have a strong prayer department, once you have people that are mature, that intercede, that can be in the gap for God's people, then the prophetic can start to flow. Why? Because there's protocols. There's Word of God says that 2 or 3 shall prophesy and the rest will judge. How are you going to judge a word if you don't have the downloads, if you don't have the communication, the relationship with the Lord, if you don't have a prayer life, if you don't have communication with the Lord, if you're not reading scriptures, if you don't know what it is that you're judging that prophetic word against. So again, you absolutely, if you don't have the prophetic flowing in your local church, the very first piece of advice I would give you is work on prayer. Work on prayer. Make sure that you have powerful prayer warriors that are interceding, that are in the gap for the local church, so the foundation can be laid down for prophets and for the prophetic to start flowing in that